Welcome to the Deep Dive. Ready to explore some Python careers?
Absolutely. We'll be looking at skills, responsibilities, maybe even some surprises along the way.
I'm excited to dig in. I know a lot of people think Python developer first.
Right, it's kind of the foundation. Python developers, they're building the software systems we use all the time. Social media, shopping sites, all that.
So they have to think about the long term, make sure it's built to last.
Yeah, exactly. Clean code, efficient, something that can be updated easily. Imagine building a house on a shaky foundation. It's not going to go well.
Makes sense. And they use frameworks to help.
Like Django, that's a big one. Think of it like a blueprint for web applications. Takes care of some of the complex stuff so you can focus on the unique parts.
But software development, that's a team effort. How do they all work together?
Version control is key. Things like Git. You can track changes, work on code together, even go back to older versions if you need to.
Like a detailed history of the project.
Yeah, keep everyone on the same page and the code stable.
I bet things don't always go perfectly, though.
Oh, for sure. Debugging, finding those errors, that's a big part of it. It's tough. You need to really know the code and have a good eye.
But satisfying when you fix it.
Definitely. Okay, so we talked about developers, but what about the data side of things? Data analysts, data scientists, all that.
Yeah, I'm curious about those roles. It's all about finding insights in data, right?
Exactly. And there's so much data out there. Data analysts, they're using Python to take that raw data and turn it into something useful.
Cleaning it up, exploring it.
Yep. Then they analyze it statistically and present it. Reports, visualizations, that kind of thing.
So they're helping businesses understand what the data means.
Exactly. They bridge that gap between all the numbers and making actual decisions.
And data scientists, they take it even further.
They go beyond just what happened. They build models that can predict what will happen. Machine learning, algorithms, all that.
Now that's powerful. What kind of tools are we talking about?
Libraries like scikit-learn are common. And for deep learning, you've got TensorFlow, PyTorch. They need a strong understanding of stats and algorithms too.
So those ethical implications we talked about earlier, they're really important here.
Oh, absolutely. As these models get more complex, we have to make sure they're used responsibly.
And speaking of complex, someone has to make those models actually work in the real world.
Right. That's where the machine learning engineer comes in. They take those models and deploy them, make sure they can be used in actual systems.
It's more than just theory.
For sure. They work with cloud platforms, things like AWS or Azure, containerization, Docker, APIs. It's a pretty technical role.
We've talked developers, data folks, machine learning. It's a lot of technical stuff. But building software takes more than just code, right?
You got it. That's where roles like the full stack developer become important. They have a broader view working on both the front end and back end.
Front end, back end. Can you explain that?
Sure. Front end is what the user sees, how the website looks and feels. Back end is all the behind the scenes stuff, the logic and data.
So full stack developers, they do it all.
Pretty much. They'll use Python for the back end, but also know HTML, CSS, JavaScript for the front end. Plus, they need to understand databases.
Sounds like I need to wear a lot of hats.
It's a challenging role, but you get to see the whole picture.
Okay, so we've got people building, analyzing. What about those who manage it all? Keeping those projects on track.
That's where project managers and product managers come in. Less about writing code, more about guiding the process, making sure things are on time and on budget.
That's got to be important, especially in tech where things move so fast.
Oh, it's essential. Project managers, they're like the organizers, the coordinators, setting deadlines, managing resources, all that.
So they keep things moving smoothly. What about product managers?
They're focused more on the why and the what of the product. Defining the vision, understanding the users, prioritizing features.
It sounds like they need to know the market really well.
Absolutely. They're analyzing feedback, looking at trends, making sure the product stays relevant.
Project manager keeps things running. Product manager keeps them pointed in the right direction. Nice teamwork.
It's a great partnership.
Yeah.
And even though they may not be coding, understanding Python is still important for them.
Yeah. Got to be able to talk to the developers, understand what's possible. Okay. One more role I'm really curious about. Data engineers. They're the ones building the infrastructure for all this data, right?
You got it. They're kind of the unsung heroes, making sure that data is ready to be analyzed. Building pipelines, managing databases, all that.
Sounds complex. What kind of skills are we talking about?
Strong Python skills, for sure, for scripting and automation. But also databases, both SQL and NoSQL. And cloud computing, that's a big one.
They're like the architects of the data world.
I like that. making sure the data flows smoothly so everyone else can do their thing.
It's amazing how many different roles are connected to data these days. And it seems like Python is at the heart of a lot of it.
It really is. Its versatility and all those libraries make it so powerful for data professionals.
And you know what? Python even pops up in places you might not expect, like digital marketing.
It does. It might seem surprising, but marketers are using it more and more for things like automation and analysis.
Really? How so?
Oh, they can use Python to grab data from websites, clean it up, analyze it. They can automate tasks like sending emails or checking website traffic, even help with SEO and content strategies.
So even in marketing, having those Python skills can give you an edge?
For sure. It helps them make decisions based on data, not just guesswork.
It seems like no matter what part of tech you're interested in, Python has something to offer.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And we've only just scratched the surface. There are tons of other cool careers out there that use Python.
Well, before we move on to those, let's take a closer look at some of these roles we've already talked about. I want to get into the nitty-gritty, the specific skills and responsibilities.
Sounds like a plan. Let's dive deeper.
Back again for more of the deep dive. Before we started, you mentioned an interest in data science, so let's focus on that for a bit.
Love it. What's really cool about these data roles is uncovering those hidden truths in the data. It's everywhere, constantly growing. And these folks are using Python to unlock it all. Make better decisions, solve problems, even predict what's coming next.
Predicting the future, that's a big one. We talked data analysts before. Can you remind me how they fit into that?
Sure thing. They're focused on what's already happened, like detectives digging through data to find trends, patterns, anything unusual. They might use libraries like pandas to clean it up, then create visuals with Matplotlib or Seaborn to show everyone what they found.
Bringing order to the chaos, basically.
Exactly. And those insights drive decisions, marketing, product development, all kinds of stuff.
But data scientists, they take it up a notch, right? They build those predictive models.
Yep. They want to know not just what happened, but why and what might happen next. Machine learning algorithms, that's their tool for predicting the future based on what the data tells them.
Okay, now we're talking. Can you give me an example how this actually works?
Imagine a company wants to predict customer churn. Who's going to cancel their subscription? A data scientist might build a model that looks at past behavior, demographics, all that, to find patterns that signal someone's about to leave. Then the company can reach out, try to keep them happy.
Get ahead of the problem before it even happens. That's got to be valuable.
Super valuable. And as machine learning gets better, we're seeing it in more and more fields. Healthcare, finance, transportation. The possibilities are huge.
Okay, so we've got the data side, but someone needs to build the systems that house all this data, right? That's the data engineer.
Spot on. They're the behind-the-scenes heroes, making sure all that data is ready for analysis. Pipelines, databases, keeping it clean and organized.
What kind of person thrives in a role like that?
They need a good grasp of software engineering, especially Python for scripting and automation, but also deep knowledge of databases, SQL and NoSQL. And cloud computing, that's a must these days.
Like the plumbers making sure the data flows smoothly.
I like that. If they do their job right, data scientists and analysts can focus on their work without worrying about the technical stuff.
So we've talked development, data analysis, data engineering, and earlier you mentioned Python even shows up in digital marketing. That surprised me.
It's true. Might seem unexpected, but marketers are using it more and more to automate things, analyze website traffic, even personalize what you see online.
Really? Can you break that down for me?
Sure. They might use Python to gather data from websites, clean it up, analyze it, automate sending emails, checking how their website's doing, even helping with SEO and content strategy.
So even if you're not a hardcore coder, knowing Python can help you in marketing.
Absolutely. It's all about making decisions based on data, not just guessing.
This is all so interesting. We've covered developers, data folks, even dipped our toes into marketing. It seems like no matter where you look in tech, Python has a place.
It really does. And we're just getting started. There are so many more careers out there using Python.
Okay, well, let's shift gears a bit. I'm curious about the roles that involve managing and leading these big tech projects.
Sounds good to me. Let's talk about project management and leadership.
Back again with the deep dive. We've seen how Python plays a role in so many technical jobs, but what about the folks who keep those projects on track?
The project managers and product managers. They may not be writing code, but they're crucial for any Python project success.
So they're the ones making sure everyone's working together, heading in the right direction.
Exactly. Think of the project manager like an orchestra conductor, keeping everyone in sync, making sure the performance goes off without a hitch. They handle the day-to-day stuff, setting deadlines, figuring out resources, dealing with any problems that pop up.
I bet that takes some serious organization skills and people skills too.
Absolutely. You need to be organized, detail-oriented, and able to communicate with all kinds of people, developers, designers, clients, stakeholders, everyone.
And the product manager, how do they fit into all this?
So the project manager focuses on the how getting things done. The product manager is more about the what and the why, the big picture vision for the product.
So they're deciding what features to build, who's going to use it, how it competes in the market.
Exactly. They're always looking at user feedback, what's trending, making sure the product stays relevant and meets people's needs.
Sounds like they need to know the technical stuff, A&E the business side.
Definitely. They may not be coding themselves, but they need to understand what Python can do. That way they can make smart decisions about the product, talk to the developers effectively.
So project manager keeps the train running. Product manager makes sure it's on the right track. It's a team effort.
Couldn't have said it better myself. And together, they make sure Python projects are not just well built, but actually useful and successful.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to circle back to full stack developers. They seem to be involved in both sides, the front end that users see and the back end behind it all.
Right. They're the multi-talented ones.
Okay.
Handling both the look and feel of the website, A&D, the logic that makes it all work.
Like an architect who designs the outside A&D, the inside of a building.
Love that analogy. They need to know front-end stuff like HTML, CSS, and JavaScript to make it look good, but also back-end stuff. Often Python with Django or Flask to make it actually function.
It's a lot to juggle, but I bet it's rewarding to see the whole thing come together.
Oh, definitely. And full stack developers are always learning, keeping up with the latest trends in web development. It's a fast-moving field, but never boring.
Well, we've covered a lot of ground today. Python developers, data scientists, project managers, even marketing folks using Python. So many possibilities.
It's been a blast exploring all these different paths. Hopefully our listeners have a better idea of what's out there for them.
Absolutely. Python is such a versatile language. It opens doors to all kinds of careers. And the best part is, this is just the beginning. As technology keeps advancing, Python's only going to become more important.
That's right. So many opportunities for those who are willing to learn and explore.
I love that. So, to everyone listening, think about what you want to achieve. What kind of impact do you want to make? With Python in your toolkit, who knows what you can accomplish?
Well said. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Python careers. We hope you found it insightful.
And if you're curious to learn more, don't hesitate to reach out. Until next time, happy coding.